This is a 1,000-mile oil change on my 7.3. All right, so since this engine has gone back in here the second time, I've got one oil change done on it already. I think that was about at 200 or 300 miles. So this one's at 1,000. In case anybody doesn't know, this is a 7.3 IDI Turbo with a turbo kit from Justin at R&D. This is an S261 turbo with a 3-inch downpipe. It's got a 6.0 intercooler up here. This cold pipe is, this cold side pipe is out of a 6.0. The rest of this is all just eBay piping. Right now, it's got a 3-inch intake to a Canon filter. I'd like to make that 3.5, so it's the same size as the turbo, and then put a different filter on here because this thing is disgusting. I got 2 Group 31 batteries. It has Justin's camshaft, and then it's got ARP Headstuds. It's got R&D return rails. It's got a 90cc injection pump from R&D. It's got comp 910 valve springs, which are out of a 7.3 Power Stroke. All the exhaust valves are shim 30 thousandths. This is a 3G alternator from CDD, actually. This thing is Hydroboost swapped. So all my vacuum is doing is supplying the HVAC stuff and cruise if the cruise worked. Down here along the frame rail, I also have an E-Fuel kit from Justin. This is a 4-inch exhaust from Summit Racing, which is not my favorite, but it's okay. This exhaust still needs a little work. If you can see up in there, those are the up pipes that supplies Justin's T4 turbo pedal stall up there. This pickup is also Dana 60 swapped, and I am going to be doing another swap here shortly to get 355 axles. Anyway, let's get this thing up on ramps. All right, well, this isn't the prettiest, but it will work. It's in reverse, and I'll chalk the back wheels. I'm not going to die. It'll be okay. But this is rather embarrassing. Problem is, this side kept slipping. That side stopped slipping. So, I mean, it is what it is. All right, so... Well, I was going to use a bucket, but I can't find any clean buckets, so I guess we'll use this crappy O'Reilly's thing. I mean, I guess they're made in the USA. Don't tell the HOA what I just did. All right, this is a new old stock 1995 Motorcraft filter. Technically for a Power Stroke, but it works all the same for the IDI. All right, so it's gonna be a nice little 3/4 ratchet wrench here. I'll get this thing off. This is kind of an ugly drain plug setup, but it works all the same. Nice, only made a little bit of a mess. Uh-oh, we gotta take that lid out. Yeah, a little word of advice when you're using these chintzy things, make sure to pop the breather cap. Taking the lid off works too. No. Pro tip, if you don't want to end up like me doing this, use a plastic bag, or like this one's too big for a red Solo cup, or just use a rag like this if you don't want it. Oh! That may have been the dumbest thing I have done in a very long time. We will be sacrificing this public school towel that I acquired somehow, and brake cleaner. In case anybody was wondering, I took a bit of an oil bath there. Now it's like 32 degrees outside and I'm out in a t-shirt. The heater's off because the door's open and the sprayer needs to come back in, but I thought I'd just do a quick oil change. Look where that got me. I think I'm blaming all this on the fact that I have not had a hat today. So, where's my work? There we are. How are we doing? I'll take this too. Oh yeah, in case anybody's not aware, I sold the 6.0 and have a half-ton now. I also acquired a Ford Taurus somehow. So now we're all rejuvenated. I'm gonna clean this up. I didn't find brake cleaner, but I found ether, so. Funny story about this drain plug. I bought both a metric and a standard drain plug from Rock Auto for this pickup, and neither one of them fit the threads very well. So I ended up going with this one, which is a 3/4, so I think that's a 5/8 bolt. It's just fine thread, threads in there fine, and then I've got a crush washer on it. It does all right. It doesn't leak. A lot of these leak on here for whatever reason. This one does not. Can't believe I got my new ratchet wrench all dirty. By the way, if anybody buys Cat ratchet wrenches expecting them to be snap-on, I think these are Blue Points. So it's got a little bulkier head on it than what I was hoping for, but it's also made in Taiwan. I think these are Blue Points. I'm not sure. They're also not Flank Drive Plus. I was hoping to kind of, you know, loophole the snap-on and get the snap-on ratchet wrenches from Cat, because if you don't know, a lot of Cat tools are rebranded snap-on. Cornwell, Williams, Blue Point. But like I said, these are made in Taiwan, and they're not bad by any stretch, but this head is a little bulky, and it's made in Taiwan, and it's not snap-on like I hoped. So we'll get this drain plug back up in here. So obviously, when you have a setup like this, that bottom bolt does not have to be threaded up very far. You just thread this one up and then you tighten the nut. I could have just gone with a shorter bolt. I may change it in the future, but for right now, that's what this is. Then obviously you just kind of snug this top nut down and then it's fine. And then when you go to take this thing out, you can just loosen that just a little bit and it all comes out at once. I would probably change this crush washer every 3 or 4 oil changes though, probably, if not more than that. All right, so fun fact, as I said, these FL 1995s are power stroke filters, but they fit the IDIs. This is, like I said, a new old stock. I'm not so sure I would even buy a new Motorcraft filter for these, to be honest. They're all sent from all over. I know Wix used to make them. I'm not sure who makes these anymore. I think it's all kind of rebranded nonsense. But anyway, all right, I don't really care what anybody says. I am going to pre-fill these filters. Always have. Always will. All right, obviously you're going to want to check and make sure that the old O-ring went out with the old filter. And these filters are kind of a pain in the butt to get up in here. They're kind of crooked. And they kind of hit that cross member where the fuel lines go across and stuff. If you have metal fuel lines, this is a bit more of a pain, but I have 3/8 rubber fuel lines, so it's not too bad. Anyway, goes up on there like so. Like I said, it's kind of a pain in the butt to actually thread up on there because of those fuel lines. Sometimes you think you have it on there and you don't. Fun fact, when you use these filters, you gain an extra quart of oil capacity. These filters are also cheaper to buy than the IDI filters are. There we go. I finally got it threaded on there. Hopefully it's not going to fall on my face. Also, always make sure you lube your O-rings and whatnot. And even though most people just say hand tight, I do normally. This is something my dad has always done. Just snug it up with the filter wrench, just 1 or 2 turns just to make sure that it's not going to back off on you. Because like I said before, this filter has backed off on me even when I did snug it down. Ouch. All right, there you go. Good enough. All right, so now we're done down here. Got my handy dandy O'Reilly's funnel. Good enough. I'm not sure if I said this earlier or not, but this thing just gets dinosaur oil, 1540 non-synthetic. These things are not very picky. Ooh, that radiator feels nice and warm. I'm gonna pull that dipstick out. This thing does have a couple breathing holes out of the engine right now with the dipstick open, and then I just have my my crankcase is just dumped, so hopefully that's not where all this oil is going. But this should be somewhere right around 11 quarts, I believe, because it should be 10 quarts and then plus an extra quart because of that power stroke filter. So this dipstick is kind of hidden back in here, thanks to the intercooler pipe and the glow plug relay, which is right next to it. All right, so now I'm going to start this thing and run it for a minute, then I'll shut it back off and check the oil in about 10 minutes. All right, so we got it off the ramps. I'm going to check this oil again in about 10 minutes. I figure with it not being on level ground that the dipstick might have been a little off, so. All right, well, that was one extremely messy oil change, but we got it done. Thanks for journeying with me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down below. I hope you learned something. You probably didn't, but there are some big things coming soon with this pickup, but I'm not really sure when they're going to happen. I think axle swaps are coming very soon. Interior swap, probably going to happen around Christmas, hopefully, if I get my parts pickup. In case you want a sneak peek, these are the seats that will be going into it. This driver's seat needs a little bit of work. So, in case you have any guesses, there's a hint. Anyway, that about wraps it up for this video, so we will see y'all next time. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy it, I guess you can like and subscribe. Anyway, see you later, bye. Just use a rag like this if you don't want to. Oh!